They knew he was going to run again, and they didn't do anything except these botched cases, these Supreme Court cases that do nothing. And, he's like, and when he wins again, they're going to do nothing except blame Arabs, the left, and Jill Stein because they're fucking morons. They're bourgeois pricks who have no positive program at all except for business and Wall Street and apartheid Israel. This isn't like a clear-cut case of like reactionary versus revolutionary. This is different flavors of bullshit, in the same fucking toilet, and it doesn't matter.
I've read Marx. I've read Engels. I've read Das Kapital.
The world is run by Trotskyists.
Hardcore Trotskyites.
How great an anti-American Marxist!
They're controlled by Trotskyists, as you put it, and these are the most evil, sick human beings on the face of the planet.
You're listening to the Left Opposition Podcast. It is November 1st. We are 4 days out from the end of democracy, people.
The biggest election of our lifetime, man. Here we go. I hope everyone's sitting down for this.
With me are my comrades and yours, Chris, Joe, and Doug. How are you guys doing tonight?
Hey.
I want to give props to Joe, who's rocking the coolest Star Trek outfit and the pin. Like that is fancy. That is not. Look at that shit. All right.
Like the hammer and sickle delta.
Oh man.
What would a ship that uses the hammer and sickle? What would it be called?
I mean, you got Marx, Proletariat. You got like those kind of names. It could be like Vanguard. Would be
I've always been fond of the USS Red October.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
I mean, the USS Sheshetsku would be a great one. It'd probably be overpowering.
So this is canon in Star Trek, but there is a USS Zukov.
Really?
Yes, there's a Zukov in TNG.
Oh wow! Dang.
Cool.
All right.
And I think I read somewhere it is named after the World War II Red Army general.
Nice.
That's cool.
That's actually kind of cool.
My goal is to be serving on that someday.
Now and then you got an actual like communist writer who snuck something in there. Like for the most part, it was like liberals accidentally creating a communist world, but like
I know
it's post scarcity. It's not communism. It's different.
Yeah. What? So no one gets paid in Star Trek? Yeah. Watch a few episodes, dude. They don't get paid. They don't need it anymore. All right. So the first clip, if you're excited now. Aaron, you're a fan of AOC, right? At last, right? I don't know.
I'm ashamed that I ever defended this woman. Yeah.
For some people on the left, AOC, when she first came on the scene, there was this hope, she was single payer health care. She kicked out an incumbent Democrat to get into the seat. DSA, Bernie Sanders. Grassroots organizing, she had a good message. I remember the speech she gave about, the establishment Democrats. She's like, hey, I annoy them. Ha ha ha. And let's see now I haven't been following her since 2012, Aaron. I'm sure this clip right here is going to be backing up her kick-ass claims when she first came onto the scene. So I'm ready. Let's do this. What do we got here, Aaron? You got a clip from the Twitter here.
This is the final case that AOC is making to support Kamala next week.
Oh, God.
I do not want to do 4 more years of resistance nonsense under Donald Trump, okay? Like, good God. Like, do we remember what it was like waking up every day and there was some shit going on?
Yeah, I remember. I followed it very closely.
You didn't do anything. You just voted for all his policies.
Yeah, the George Floyd protest. I remember that shit. Yeah, there was a lot of that. And there was like Nazis and racists, and they were like running their cars into traffic while we were protesting a murderous cop named Derek Chauvin. I remember that. Is that the shit? She's calling that shit, huh? Oh, wow.
Yeah, like I remember like every day, as Matt Christman said, every day is the stupidest day in U.S. politics. It just kept getting stupider. So we were
a t-shirt.
We were in this like really psychotic office space. Yeah, because love him or hate him, Trump was objectively the funniest president in U.S. history. So I had that's what got me addicted and poisoned my brain with fucking U.S. politics. Thanks, assholes.
I keep forgetting you're not from America. You have a better grip on American politics than like 95% of Americans.
Yeah.
There are
I feel like a
people
lot
I
of
work
Canadians
with.
do, honestly.
I know.
I don't
like,
think they can help it. That
because-
probably the airwaves are jammed with U.S. media.
Yeah, I
is
mean,
that
like,
it? Like, how does this work?
no, it's like listening to your neighbors fight, and you have you have a bag of ketchup potato chips, and you're listening in on it.
That's amazing. Like, for example, provinces. There are, 10 provinces.
10 of
I
them.
really. Oh my god, I'm right.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, that was it. I am, and that's the most.
Three territories. But anyway,
Oh, wow. Okay. See, I didn't know that.
AOC says something like, I do not want 4 more years of resistance nonsense under Donald Trump. And so I guess, the George Floyd protests, the Women's March on day 1 of the Trump presidency, was that resistance nonsense, right? Like,
yeah, I'm trying to figure out what she means.
Trump shook a lot of complacency out of a lot of people, and it forced, someone like me who was raised in a terminally liberal centrist household, like that really forced me to sort of pick a side in this. I'm like, okay, well, what happened? Like, Bernie bent the knee, and then what? Oh, well, we lost anyway. So what good was that? And that was the beginning of my slow descendance into, leftism and then ultimately Marxism. I don't consider that to be nonsense. I think that was an awakening, and I think a lot of us went through that. Trump kind of shook that out of us, and this really reeks of just the equivalent of wanting to go back to brunch. Remember that classic lib sign of I should be at brunch right now.
Yeah.
It's really?
I wonder how she feels like she made that sign. Like, one day she's like, this is a good sign, and now this is a good way.
If you genuinely believe that Trump, we talked about this before the show. If you genuinely believe that Trump is a fascist who presents an existential threat to democracy, then you wouldn't be calling this resistance nonsense.
Exactly.
Right? You'd be calling it what it is. If you really believe that fascism was on the ballot, then you should be. I made this point earlier that every trade union leader, every communist leader, every socialist in the country should either flee the country or go underground and start organizing underground and start building resistance networks. If you truly believe that fascism was an imminent threat, and there's a clip recently from the Young Turks with Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur also arguing over the definition of so it's two liberals arguing over what the definition of fascism is.
So morons who don't know what they're talking about then.
God, I mean,
essentially,
yeah. I mean, for me, what radicalized me really was just more of the Iraq War. I'm like, my country is gonna send kids. I was 21. Really, 2021 when that started, and the kids I know, classmates of mine, my brother-in-law, they were going to go to war, and I'm like, this is stupid. And the people that radicalized me were Bush and Dick Cheney, and I used to have a shirt that said George W. Bush, international terrorist, and I hated Dick Cheney. And now the Democrats in 2024 are look, Dick Cheney is now supporting us. Isn't this great? That's how far we've come in 20 years with the Democrats.
Well, it's also worth noting, because I've actually seen a few of this on Twitter, is, oh, what about liberals 20 years ago, when they were saying impeach Bush, and you said, Bush being an international terrorist. You know what? I was also old enough to remember, what they did then? The same shit that they did now. Nothing. That they voted to fund the war continually. They supported all those repressive policies. They weren't a resistance then. They were collaborators, willing and able collaborators. And if you go to the John Kerry 2004 is pretty much how he would have just killed people differently, compared to Bush and everything.
Or the surge. Hey, we're going to do a surge. We're going to put all these soldiers, and that's going to fix everything. And
I mean, the thing with the liberals, and it's very irrationalist, is they look at someone like Bush or Trump now, and it's just this evil person who kind of comes out of nowhere. And if we just beat them at the ballot box, that'll essentially fix things and we can go back to brunch. There's no analysis of the structural conditions of society that bring this about, where this whole reservoir of irrationalism that gives you QAnon and all this kind of garbage that fuels this, all the stuff that's in society that they don't want to confront and deal with because they're fucking liberals and they don't, they're invested in keeping things the way they are, not in changing them. Yeah, and exactly. Some of those people who are attracted to Trump, they believe wrongly that he's going to like fundamentally fix things and make, a better society. It's bullshit. He just wants tax cuts and to, screw over the majority people. But the liberals don't offer anything. And the only thing that they can really think to do is like, let's just vote a bit harder for Kamala and we can go back to brunch.
Right. Like the underlying conditions that gave us Trump were not solved in 4 years. Like, that's the whole thing. And I have an article that'll be talking about later about labor's response to it too. But, they didn't give you single payer health care. They didn't give you those $2,000 checks. They didn't raise the minimum wage. They didn't actually pass any stronger union laws. They did some things, but ultimately, what ultimately killed them was their support of a genocide in Gaza. They could have run maybe we did a few things. We gave you a few bigger crumbs, but they didn't stop anything that would do it. They gave us, the Russiagate conspiracy theory, the evidence-free conspiracy theory about how the reason why Hillary lost, it was Russia.
Yeah, who were the first ones to claim a stolen election? It was the Democrats in 2016, right?
Because, boy, you talk to a MAGA person, they'll say that shit too, and they got a point. Like, way to go, liberals. Like, you could have probably impeached them correctly on January 6th. That probably would have held. You probably could have done it, but you fucked up because you don't know how to fucking get rid of this shit.
That's the thing that I go back to the most, where I'm like, you want me to fucking frantically involve myself in this election as if like this is a serious situation, where because if they were serious about similar to your point, I guess, Aaron, but like if they were serious about Trump being this threat, which I think he is, especially when he was doing January 6th shit, that's when you go, okay, day one, hey, it's me, Joe Biden. DOJ, go after Trump. Go after Roger Stone. Go after fucking Ginny Thomas. Like all these fucking people who pulled the whole thing off. And Nancy Pelosi shouldn't have fucking seated Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz and all these people who participated in it.
It was a weak response.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. So they started a half-assed trial process a year out from the election, and like I'm supposed to take this seriously.
Yeah, and it's all done through legal institutional channels. Like if this was like, I don't know, a European country with a stronger labor movement, you would have had unions organizing and doing stuff. And you would have seen like actual confrontation with these people. But, the quote unquote opposition, not just the Democrats, but pretty much anyone in the upper echelon of like the labor movement or these NGOs, they're not going to mobilize people into the streets. No, they only, at most they want to mobilize them into the ballot box. Right. And that's it.
Yeah. And I just want to say this, and one thing too, is that like, for me, someone who's a member of the Letter Carriers Union, I'm very careful about my saying about where I work. Thank you, Hatch Act. Great freedom in this country. But as a member of the Letter Carriers Union, Louis DeJoy, the Postmaster General, remember he was like, the Democrats were saying, this man's a threat to democracy because he's controlling mail-in ballots and this is going to ruin everything. And Joe Biden has to get rid of him and we're going to do it. They never removed this guy. This guy is still in power. Our contract, he's giving us a 1.3% raise for 1 year. So that's going to be another battle. But, Louis DeJoy should have been taken out. And every time I know liberals on because of the Harris Waltz thing, and I don't say anything. I just listen because, the Hatch Act. But they'll be like, why hasn't, Biden gotten rid of him? And he could, but he didn't. These people aren't serious. They don't actually change anything. Right. So, yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. And if they're scared of like looking hypocritical, because God forbid the Democrats, that's the last thing they ever want to do. But like Trump literally campaigned on lock her up. So if you were to actually punish Trump for crimes he actually committed, like then you could at least point a finger to that.
Yeah, but fucking Lula did it in Brazil. Like they had a similar thing happen there to January 6th, and he was just like, yeah, you're all going to jail. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like the world kept turning.
And people love him for it. So
right.
Yeah. Like
Lula's been a big disappointment this time around, but that's another. We should probably think about that sometime.
If you truly believe we are in a battle for democracy, then you should be using every tool at your disposal. And instead, we're
not some weak ass response.
Oh my God!
I'm going to put a Republican in my cabinet. Oh, thanks, Kamala. Oh, no, I like Joe Biden.
I thought the whole point was to keep Republicans out.
That's Hindenburg appointing Hitler. If we're using that analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, Trump is Hitler, but we're going to appoint all of his staffers anyway. Anyway, so here's the the managers of the left over at TYT explained to us what fascism is.
Here we go.
Notion of a fascist. Because look, if we're just going to use fascist toward anyone we dislike, all right, then the word doesn't actually mean anything.
Okay, what do you want me to say, Anna? You want me to say wannabe dictator?
I'll say you're an idiot.
Sure, you can say wannabe dictator, but I don't even think he wants to be a dictator.
Of course he does. That's what you do when you lose an election and you go, oh, I got fake electors and I'd like to terminate the Constitution and bring out the tanks and use martial law against American citizens and shoot protesters. I mean, if that's not fascist, then I guess the word just shouldn't exist.
Right. Okay. Which party is he talking about?
The fake electors block.
They both did that.
Yeah.
Again. Yeah. Democrats were the first ones to claim a stolen election and unleash the National Guard on black teenagers under Trump. But then,
the Ferguson protests
under
Ferguson,
right, and under Biden and Harris, we've had we're literally getting Jewish professors of Jewish university studies at colleges getting slammed to the ground by campus cops for protesting against genocide.
Right. Yeah, fascism is not just repression, because that's just a normal thing in bourgeois society.
Yeah.
Between Democrats, Republicans, social democrats, traditional conservatives, they all do that.
Right.
Even dictatorship is not necessarily fascist, because you've had plenty of non-fascist dictators, whether in Latin America, Europe, or wherever. There's specific things that fascism does have. That's not to say that Trump is good or anything like that, but it is to say, come on, let us not throw things out there. That's the closest that Anna gets is that one moment. Yeah, we shouldn't throw it out, but I know she doesn't actually understand fascism, just like she doesn't understand anything.
So of these two clowns, Anna actually gets it closer, but she's still not correct. But this is why we get so pedantic around definitions, is because it actually does affect our strategy and what we do.
Right.
But was he able to do those things?
Trump's
his rhetoric is awful.
Okay, if you don't want to be called fascist, stop saying fascist things. It's not that hard.
Okay.
Not that hard. Oh, here, let me have dinner with Nick Fuentes, who's a Nazi, Kanye, who's a Nazi, and let me say there's good people on the Nazi side. Oh, it could be pro-Confederate guys. Might be guys who are pro-slavery who are good guys. Let me do all of these things. Let me say that immigrants are poisoning the blood of our nation, a Nazi term that is only used in the past by Nazis, and then say I'm going to ban Muslims, I'm going to do this and this and this to all the other ethnic groups, and then go, oh, I can't believe you called me a fascist.
Yeah, which party opened concentration camps at the border and is funding a genocide right now? I mean, if you're just going to use terms, again,
Aaron, you're forgetting they renamed those children concentration camps. Okay, they're called child detention centers now. Let's please, once you change the name,
overflow facilities. Yeah.
Yes, there we go. Yeah. Holy mother of God.
Okay.
Saudi Arabia are they fascist? No, they're an authoritarian. There's levels to understanding fascism, and suppression is bad. As Doug said, they all every government does that. I mean, in a worker state, we're gonna have to suppress fascists. All small groups of them. We're gonna have to suppress.
I think there is now. To be fair, I think there is a fair amount of Tinder in the United States that could unleash a fascist movement. The petty, as we know, it is. I mean, because we're Trotskyists, we usually go with Trotsky's analysis of fascism, which
during the pandemic, I'd say that would be the middle class that's when I saw the anger.
That's where we saw heavily the petty bourgeoisie, your small business owners, your small landlords.
Open up my business or I'll shoot you if I can't go to Applebee's kind of shit.
Yeah, exactly. There was a plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan because of lockdowns and that sort of stuff. So their solution usually is some libertarian nonsense where they just gut all government regulations because they think that's what's crushing them. When in reality, it is the system of capitalism that's crushing the petty bourgeoisie.
Right. Big fish eat the little fish. That's how the system goes.
And there's hundreds of millions of dollars in creepy dark money involved in this election, especially coming from clowns like Elon Musk.
Peter Thiel.
So you have your big bourgeoisie unleashing and funding a lot of these a lot of these movements too. But I'm sure I'm missing some stuff. It's been a while since I've read, but please do check out Fascism: What It Is and How to Fight It by Trotsky. He mostly draws on the example of Mussolini in that analysis. But Doug, feel free to chime in.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you unfortunately, if you're like me and you've actually read Mussolini and Hitler extensively, especially Mussolini Mussolini. He was incredibly intelligent, well-read, a real thought leader in terms of what he's doing. Even Hitler had those pretensions, though I think Mussolini was actually the smarter between the two. Trump, he does surround himself with like these very, like you said, a lot of these shadowy figures. And if you go back to 2016, he was like Steve Bannon was one of his campaign advisors, and he, comes out of this very traditionalist background, and he definitely is a thought leader, very well read in like fascists like Evola, etc. But I think like even when Trump uses this rhetoric, and even when he's quoted like Mussolini on his Twitter, I really think it's almost more for attention than that he's like some kind ideologically invested in it in a way like compared to like the historical fascist leaders. And as bad as Trump is and was in office, a lot of his policies were not particularly different than mainstream Democrats or Republicans. I mean, the big thing obviously is things like January 6th and whatnot, but he didn't succeed in establishing like a strengthened Bonapartist executive or a fascist movement. And even now, it's like, it's interesting that there are like, like on the fringes of the GOP, like, the Proud Boys, etc. And some of whom have been guarding like some of like these ballot boxes where people are dropping off like early voter stuff.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah.
But you don't see quite like an armed paramilitary wing that you saw with like the black shirts or the brown shirts.
True.
Or like the Freikorps, which
not yet.
Not yet. That's true. Again, I think like he is getting support from a lot of these fascists. Although interestingly, I believe Richard Spencer is backing Harris, but don't quote me on that. But it's also like the other thing is like it's like I feel like there's stuff there that could congeal into one. And you're right. I think like the Tinder's there because that's the contradictions of capitalism. When the situation gets tense enough, they resort to that. Right. There may not be an imminent threat of proletarian revolution or anything, but the system can be enough crisis that the traditional institutions don't work and they want to resort to something. Whether we call that fascism or Bonapartism or whatnot, that's an interesting debate. But again, if the system's under that much strain, they can be willing to abandon those type of forms. The thing I think we got to emphasize, and this is something like a lot of liberals or like the CPOC types don't, is like the bourgeoisie doesn't want to resort to fascism unless it's like a last resort. Trotsky used the analogy of like, it's like getting your rotten teeth pulled. It's like, it's like that sucks and it hurts, but you don't want to do that unless you absolutely have to.
Right. And that's what I was relying on. Like, there's no threat. Like, there is no proletarian movement. There's no mass communist or socialist party threatening profits. That's my traditional why I don't think it's really happening.
The other thing is, the closest I think you could get is a lot of these people, even though the policies between Harris and Trump are not all that different, is they're looking at demographic trends that see white people becoming not a majority. Immigrants, they were probably more, they're freaked out by the BLM protests and everything. But even that, it's like, do you really see like a large portion of the bourgeoisie like willing to resort to that?
Right. I mean, you have some like, you have a big Zionist billionaire element, like Sheldon Adelstein's family, who gave Trump $100 million with the promise, as long as you let Israel annex the Golan Heights, do whatever. That's it. That's all we need you to do. That's the blank check. So there is some Zionism involved in this as well, which is foreign policy, because whatever the Zionists want, they'll do. And I mean, not that they're doing much different under a Democratic leadership. She can't even just all she needs to do, if she wanted to win this election, she could just say, we're shutting off the weapons to Israel. The polls say she'd get a 6-point bump just by doing it. But instead, not going to do it.
So also it's worth pointing out about the stuff about like, immigrants poisoning the blood of the nation, etc. Yes, that's bad rhetoric, but if you actually go back in history, progressives use that a lot, and a lot of progressives actually sympathize with Mussolini, etc. And a lot of traditional like Dixiecrats and regular racist politicians would say shit like this. It's actually not that far out of line. It is probably, Trump, because it is a little unusual for Trump, just because like he's also like packaging it with all kinds of other like rancid stuff that you don't say in polite company, at least in recent years, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Thankfully, the Democrats have more humane policies when it comes to things like immigrants.
Right. Their language is a lot better. Policies not so much.
Where did Kamala go? Was it Guatemala?
Yes.
Or Honduras when she said, "Do not come here."
I repeat, do not.
I'm gonna come.
Yeah. Jesus God Almighty.
Anyway, so
Not like let's end the sanctions. Why people show up here? Stop funding right-wing death squads in the countries you're in because we want to crush socialism.
Imagine that. So this is from holding Democrats accountable from the left Twitter feeds. They posted this thing, says Kamala now supports extending rules that essentially cut off access to asylum to anyone who crosses the border illegally, forcing them back into Mexico or rapidly returning them to their home country. Kamala is now campaigning on the same Trump policy that she called a stain on our moral conscience. Yeah, they're cutting off asylum, even though asylum is legal under international law. Again, that was like a big asylum. That was big stick in the craw when Trump was president, was the concentration camps and treatment at the border, even though Obama built those concentration. The whole thing's fucking stupid. Right. How anyone doesn't see through this at this point is truly beyond me. Right. And unfortunately, there is a lot of people who somehow believe that abortion is on the ballot. There's this footage. You can't make out the audio, so I'm not going to play it, but there's this footage of a woman screaming at a toddler in a carriage.
Oh, yeah.
I don't give a shit about Gaza, bitch.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of debate about what she's actually saying, but it is insane. It's just this lady like screaming at a child. Someone was saying that she was like that it might not have had anything to do with Gaza, and she was saying like, I don't care that your dad's a bitch or something. Like, I don't know, but yeah, it
didn't look good that you're screaming at. Like, she's looking right in the little kid's face and like screaming, and then some woman's like, "Okay, please stop doing. What are you doing here?" Like, that's insane. But holy mother of God! So, all right. So, some of you. Green Party, Aaron. I see you got this on the screen.
I'm just scrolling, but yeah.
All right, we make sure you got mine too, right? About the Jill Stein ad. So the Green Party.
So let's check in on the Green Party because I know we explored them as a possible option.
Doug is always talking about how great she loves the Green Party.
Greatest thing since Lenin.
Unironically, there are socialists on Twitter that whose opinion that I have respect for. I disagree with them sometimes, but there is a decent amount of buzz amongst actual socialists pushing for Jill Stein. Now, what is their VP pick?
I don't know much about him though. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about him, but he's pro-Palestine, I know, which is good. But so no one's perfect, but let's see how unperfect we're going to find out. I have not heard this clip.
He seems to have an opinion about trans women in sports.
Okay.
I don't think that biological males should play in female sports. I think that it gives an unfair, competitive advantage. And
there you go. So
that's just saying
that's the usual nonsense gobbledygook that we keep hearing.
That's just saying
I've
put no thought. Yeah. It's just saying I've put no thought into this. I don't understand it whatsoever. But man, look big. Like that's it. It's just
we're running as a viable alternative because people are sick of the status quo, and then you're just going to give a status quo answer.
Thank you very much. That's a great way to put it. I mean, all I have to say is like I don't care. They're just let them play. Who cares? Like, who gives a shit? Let them play. What's the big?
Everyone has different advantages.
Right? No shit. I mean, the XY chromosome thing. There's a long thing. Not everyone's XY. There's XXY. There's chromosomes are interesting. We just discovered them. How they work by like the 60s. So like it's still relatively a new thing, scientifically speaking, and we're learning new stuff. At the same time, who gives a shit? Let they're kids. Let them play. Like, why is this like it? People don't have health care. Let the kids fucking play. Leave the fuck alone.
These guys don't understand what weight class means either. Like
it's
like ridiculous.
The fucking thing with the Olympics over the summer with like there's the Algerian woman.
Oh, right, and then, right.
There was like a Korean woman maybe too. It was like, it's actually more complicated than you fucking idiots think because this is someone with an XY or something, or maybe we were speculating, but it was like,
whatever.
Yeah, this is a fucking woman. This is just a woman. Like people look different.
Yeah. This panic, this trans panic has gotten so out of hand and so crazy.
It's made up about nothing.
It is complete nonsense. There was an incident last year at a it's like 8-year-olds, like sporting event. It's like track and field, somewhere in the prairies. And some old guy in the crowd, because one girl had like a bowl cut, some fucking old guy was like, "That's a boy," started screaming and demanded that, like, they be like inspected by a doctor or certified, and they were eventually they got ejected out of the game. I'm like, you're the freaks freaking out about children's genitals like all the fucking time. Calm the fuck down. God damn.
Right? Like, and this
It's
is like
like,
what?
it's crazy.
A tiny fraction of the pop. Is this even like what? I mean, what population is trans? There's a small
Like 0.1%.
I mean,
Right.
they go on about shit like, the bathroom stuff. It's like most people who go to the bathroom, they really just want to do number one or two. That's really it.
Right.
It's only
Yeah.
these weirdos who like give
Right.
a crap about who's using it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, they're mutilating their bodies. But no, it's like, you know what? Based on everything I've read in terms of like medical experts, etc., it's like most people who get gender reassignment, they're very happy with it because it's like where they want to be. And let's assume that there is like that 1 out of 10,000. You know what? I'm going to be glad that everyone else is like actually glad about it.
Yeah.
And you know what? If we're like Marxists and communists who care about the oppressed, then we support trans people. End of story. This is like one reason among many. I'm glad I never hitched the star to the Green Party, because it's like, yeah, they'll have a decent enough thing to say on Palestine, and then they'll say this kind of crap.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, just drop the ball, or like
No
just
shit.
miss an empty net. I don't know, whatever sports analogy you want.
Yeah, I know. Like the bathroom thing. I always say, like, I don't care. Just wash your fucking hands when you're done.
Yeah,
That's all
that's
you have
the more
to do.
th- yeah.
Just
Yeah.
wash your hands when you're on the bathroom, and that's the only thing I'm going to tell you to do. Just wash your hands, and that's
Yeah.
it. I don't care. I'm not peeking over the stall and go, excuse me. Like, those are the people who are like sex offenders and stuff too. Like those people who claim the loudest at stuff.
Yeah.
Like, check their browsing history.
Well,
You
that's,
know what
that's
I mean?
the thing is, like, if there's no reason to like dressing up as a woman to go into a women's room to assault women doesn't give you that much of an advantage in doing so. Like,
Right.
if a man's going to do that, he'll just do it.
Right.
And
Or he'll go
that's-
into a
that's
boy's
crime in
room
itself.
and do that to a boy. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
And you know what?
this is
If you're
the
really
dumbest shit
concerned
in the
about
world.
sexual assault of like kids, then you know what? You got to go after is the Catholic Church.
There's a
Because
place you should
that's
check
a
out.
place that is
Yeah.
filled with predators. And
Yeah.
I'm not just talking about their stupid dogmas. I'm talking about the priests who have a long history and have been, and if you live here in Massachusetts, as some of us do, is long
Especially-
covered up.
Yeah.
Covered
My
up
church
here
had
by-
it too. Where I was a
It's
kid.
like, come on.
Yep. We
There
had there was
those are
suspected
the real
pedophile priests.
pedophiles in the freaking
Right.
Catholic Church.
And that was
Not
covered
trans
up
people.
for years. If any of you go see the movie Spotlight, if any of you haven't seen it, I think it won Best Picture of 2013.
Yeah, was that the one
Great.
with like Rachel McAdams from Mean Girls?
And yes, Doug would. Yes, that's a
yes,
of
I did.
course.
You're right. It is very
Yeah,
good.
it's like I said, great thing about it was in Boston. So it's for us who are in the Boston area, like the Catholic Church, the way that it's just spot on. If you want to know about it, and like I said, this happened. There was a suspected priest at my church. One of my friends was an altar boy. Yeah, and then like that priest just quietly got shuffled off, and we never talked about him again. And this was in the 90s. This wasn't that long ago. So holy God. So yeah, the real pedophiles usually check the churches or cops or cops too. There's a lot of them. Sandra Birchmore, and we had a school resource officer in my town had it, and like this is like cops and fucking priests, the people of authority. Usually those people who want to be
Coaches.
priests or cops and coaches in positions of authorities. Those are the ones you want
Republican
to look
House
after.
members.
That's it.
or or a fundamentalist preacher. They have like weird kinks too, and not
Oh,
the
yeah.
kink shame, but
There's literally a
That-
thousand
that,
categories of like almost exclusively men who like cishet men who we should be investigating before trans people should be investigated.
Usually it's usually
insane.
the gay conversion therapy people. They're the ones who
and trans people experience the most assault in they receive the most assault in
I mean they're a
bathrooms and shit,
marginalized
too.
group. Like like think about the logic behind some of these people. Are you saying like people are like literally getting like sex changes, etc., so they can like have a competitive edge in sports?
That's the
like
only
really
reason
like
why.
think about like the mechanics of that for
just
someone.
undergo very intense both mental and hormone like therapy as part of a years-long journny that it takes.
Right.
And
also encouraging and seeing all the psychopaths in our society who want to murder you. Like, there's some nutty people out there too. Holy mother of God. Like they got a lot of guts to do that and stand up for themselves. And that like I said, the biggest victims of murders and homicides, it's going up against violent crime against them. They're the oppressed people we stand on the side with. Like we stand with them. Yeah.
I have a when I rant about how much I hate the Democrats at work, very understandably, and I think it's a very valid feeling that I get one coworker who's like, yeah, look, I don't care, I just want my trans friends in the States to be safe. And I think they're hinting at that's why we should support Democrats. But and then that's usually when I say, like, I've got some bad news. None of these parties, they will throw trans people under the bus the first fucking chance they get.
They already have. The Biden thing, that they like changed something in like US legal language that just allowed like states to do fucking transgender athletes bans and shit. Like, this is Kamala right here. I believe we should follow the law in regards to the availability of gender affirming healthcare. Does that mean if the Supreme Court makes it illegal, she would stand by that?
Yes, that's the law. Jesus, Aaron, come on, read it. It's there. Sure, all right. The Supreme Court, like 8% of the population loves the Supreme Court. That's who you back. There's a real winner of society. The people who ended abortion. Holy crap. Lord help us.
Okay, yeah. So what else we got? We have
the Democrats attacking. Did I put the link up about this is the actual ad itself.
This thing?
Yeah,
because this fucking video is 11 minutes.
Oh no, it's only watch the first minute is the ad. Then you can stop it. They're just going to show you. So just the first minute.
So this is a sign of a well
right.
run.
Now just let everyone know. Now for our international viewers, I'll set this up a little bit. But international viewers, the election is between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. That's who the race is. But there's a couple of other people running for office, but this is a two-way race. The third party doesn't matter. But the Democrats, now, a lot of criticize it. They're like, well, we're not going to stop doing genocide. And some people are doing a protest vote saying, well, I'm supporting Jill Stein because she's against the genocide. And who do you think the Democrats are going to attack? Jill Stein. Not Donald Trump. Not the guy she's running against. She's going to fight against Jill Stein. So here we go.
Yeah. So the Democrats are running basically on like, well, the Green Party is irrelevant, so you shouldn't vote for them. Well, then why are you making ads about them then?
Yeah, then why you do shit? All right.
Green Party candidate for president. So why are Trump's close allies helping her? Stein was key to Trump's 2016 wins in battleground states. She's not sorry she helped Trump win. That's why a vote for Stein is really a vote for Trump.
Jill Stein, I like her very much. You know why? She takes 100% from them.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
So Harris supports this message, huh? This is it, right? I mean, they're not asking why are people supporting Jill Stein, but it's like I said, this is a democracy. At least we pretend to be. So you can vote for whoever the fuck you want to vote for. Maybe you should run ads against Donald Trump. Maybe you should stop doing genocide. You could stop doing that, but no.
I mean, it's also a fact, like the parties are so closely aligned, they don't really have differences they can run against. It's not like they're going to run against Trump for like wanting Israel to finish the job because, well, they want Israel to finish the job.
Yep.
They're not going to do anything on the immigrants because her criticism of Trump is that he didn't build the wall. Right. And this blaming Stein goes, you could see this back in 2000 when it was like everyone blamed Nate. A lot of the Democrats blamed Nader. Right. And you know what? The people who voted for Nader, they voted for Nader.
Yeah.
Right.
It wasn't that they voted for Bush.
And I will say Hillary never took responsibility for her campaign funding Trump's primary campaign.
Right. Mm-hmm. Or that she didn't want to campaign
as a Pied Piper.
Wisconsin.
It was a Pied Piper strategy. They thought he would be easy to beat. And so they encouraged it through
and we also
ways
forget
for him to win.
That in 2016 Clinton won the popular vote.
Right.
She got 2 million votes more than
leftists did what they were told to do and voted Hillary, and they lost anyway. So what the fuck do you want?
And then a couple of weeks ago, Tim Walz was like, yeah, the Electoral College is bullshit. And then the Kamala Harris campaign was like, dude, you can't say that.
No shit. Like, when they actually let him like speak openly, when he called them weird, when he said we're not going back, back, and like he was like talking about giving. If they were campaigning what Tim Walz did, I'm trying to help you out, Democrats, but fuck you anyway because you're imperialist warmongering party. But like free school lunches for kids. Why doesn't she run on? We're going to make sure every kid in this country gets a free school lunch, breakfast, and lunch. We're going to do it for you. Give kids something. Help them out. Help parents out. Parents are struggling to get by. That's one less thing the parents have to do.
I mean, if you're just doing based on the optics and the vibe, Walz gives off, like you said, when he first started, like this kind of folksy, popular, down-to-earth attitude. Like he kind of cares about kids. Obviously, he's part of this bourgeois imperialist party. We're just talking about the optics here, right?
Yeah.
He kind of he does give off that friendly vibe and everything.
He
and it's
was
like, look at like Vance. He's like this weird creep.
Oh my God.
And it's like, he like,
he's a vulture capitalist.
Like whether,
Jesus Christ.
he hates hillbillies and he has like sexual relations with furniture. It's like very strange.
Diet Mountain Dew, Mr. Anti-Charisma, like that creepy weirdo.
So I think I said this before, but Walz was single-handedly winning this election, and then they sidelined him. He has not been in any media for like 2 weeks because
they replaced him with Liz Cheney.
Liz Cheney.
Yes. That's what they took him off and put up Liz fucking Cheney.
Daughter of renowned war criminal who killed 1 million Iraqis and destabilized an entire region to keep the Middle East fighting each other.
The anti-choice candidate, by the way, too. She's not pro-choice. She voted with Bush. I mean, Freudian slip. She voted with Trump. What
93%? I think it was 93%.
Something stupid like that. Jesus God.
Liz Cheney, as recently as like last year, was peddling the lie that Democrat doctors were murdering babies after they were born.
The 10-month abortions, huh?
Yeah, the post-birth abortion. Yeah, no. Anyway, if when they lose on Tuesday, it's their own fucking fault. And I really, really hope we can stop talking about this goddamn election, because this is like our 4th episode where it's just been an election coverage now. I hope our viewers aren't getting sick of it. They are really fun to talk about. But I think it's time to move on. Let's talk about something a little bit more tangibly related to Marxism, because a lot of these takes we're saying tonight, you can get these. Most leftist podcasts are saying the exact same thing we are. But then they'll say, we'll vote Democrat anyway. And we're saying, honestly, in this particular election, what I would say, gun to my head, I would probably vote Claudia de la Cruz and the PSL. They have their own problems, but Claudia de la Cruz has been marching on the street, facing arrest, standing in solidarity with Palestinians. With all their problems and policies and philosophy, like that's still someone that I would get behind.
Yeah, my completely meaningless Massachusetts vote. I did vote for her in the end too. So
me too.
Like I said, I know, like there's some comrades I know we're friends with who really despise PSL. They don't even call it, they have some strong opinions. Yes. I get it. It's fine. I'm not 100% on PSL either. I'm not like, oh, they're evil, but like, but look, of all the people running for office on my ballot, they're the best one. So that's
we're Trotskyists. There's 4 of us in this call right now, and it'll be a miracle if 3 different organizations aren't formed by the end of the night. So
I'm not going to form a different organization from the rest of you, although I am not voting in this election. And I take my firm stand on Bigfoot. He's a candidate.
I still think we should do what the liberals told us to do from the beginning, and I think we should write in Joe Biden. But I think that's an even funnier option. But
what if that won it? That'd be awesome.
Last point I want to make, and I'm curious, and this is a genuinely serious question: is sometimes on some of these ballots there are down ballot or like referendums that are happening.
Yes, we have ballot question. We have like question 1, question 2, question 3.
If nothing else, that seems.
I'm a big fan of those. I get a lot of my friends to vote.
I feel like you should at least go out of your way to participate in stuff like that.
Yeah, something like that, because sometimes there's stuff like raise the minimum wage or something with environment, whatever it is.
Earn sick time was a big
some recreational drug or whatever. Yeah, it's like whatever. But honestly,
regulate the orphan crushing machine.
But if you have
if
you just have a bunch of bourgeois candidates, just start like writing in Marx, Engels, Lenin until you run out of like classical revolutionaries to fill. because you shouldn't actually vote for any of them.
Them being dead would do a better job than the living whoever's in charge. That's for sure. But yeah, in Massachusetts, we have a few good things like should Uber drivers be allowed to unionize because their whole it's a weird because they're independent contractors. I don't know if Canada has that. That's question 3. There's a standardized testing bullshit that we want to get rid of. That's good. A lot of labor unions, that's probably going to win. That standardized testing of it called the MCAS test.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, they're finally gonna. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, question. Yeah, I'm telling you, go do vote and do vote by mail because I get 10 cents every time.
Fun story. One of the earliest protests I ever went to was actually a protest against the MCAS.
I hated those things. Yeah. So, Aaron, in our state where we live, the three of us, if you want to get a high school diploma, you have to pass it. It doesn't matter what kind of grades you get, but it's like one standardized test for everybody. If you don't pass the standardized test, no diploma, even though you might do it. Yep, that was it.
I did the Connecticut one, but same idea.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I grew up in Connecticut.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, welcome. Question 1 was like auditing the state government. And weirdly enough, there's a lot of Democratic who are pushing back hard on it because they're like, we don't have to actually let you do an audit of us. Weird pushback. Now but like it hasn't been talked about a whole lot. And question 5 is like we have a tipped wage. Do you have a tipped wage in Canada where like if you're like a waitress or a bartender, you don't get minimum wage, you get a sub-minimum wage? Does that exist?
I really should know the answers to this, but I don't. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Because
I've let
like
my
in
server
Ireland, they
friends know.
don't. Like, yeah, tipping is, it's just a way of passing on costs to, you because, if you want to sexually harass a waitress or be shitty to them, they have to put up with it because your tip is how they get mostly paid. So there's a movement to get rid of it, but that's definitely not going to pass. The petty bourgeois have been united, and way too many useful idiots of that the people who work there are like wearing vote now on 5. But so those are the real things you want to vote on. For the narrow Massachusetts communist voter out there, if you're listening in, I know with some over the country and world, but thank you. There you go, Massachusetts. You're welcome. So, all right. Ooh.
Okay, so moving on. So like one of the things that you can do as someone who wants to see, help build a better world, participate in your union, help build a union, talk about unions at work. Even in sectors that aren't fully unionized, non-union workers will still benefit from a union in another industry because now they have to compete. In my hometown, we have Stelco and DeFasco. One's union, one's not. They have the exact same wages, benefits, and pension because every time the unionized workers vote for a better CBA, the non-union company follows suit because they don't want to lose employees. Non-union workers still benefit from unions. That being said, here's an article that Chris wanted to go over. Is Kamala Harris one of us? A reply to Sean Fain. And this comes from the Revolutionary Communists of America. Take it away, Chris.
Thank you. So I'm just going to read a few sections. There was so much I wanted to talk about in this article, but it would just be me talking for 10 minutes. So just a highlight here, and I'll just read from it. UAW Sean Fain addressed the DNC in Chicago with ringing endorsements of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. He proclaimed, "This pair is solidly on the side of the working class. Kamala Harris is one of us. She's a fighter for the working class." This is not true. Harris is not one of us. She is not a, quote, fighter of the working class, unquote. And neither is her running mate, Tim Walz. In the hands of a workers' government, state power would be a decisive weapon to bear on the class struggle. But today, state power is held by capitalism's servants and hangers-on, not by worker representatives, and is always used by so-called friends of labor to pressure and weaken union workers in their fights against the capitalists over the division of surplus value. The anti-working class record of the Democratic Party is fully apparent to anyone who takes a look at history. And they talk about the Taft-Hartley Slave Labor Act, which if you know your labor history, it's pretty good at this point. And this point, I just want to stop for my first stop here is even the National Labor Relations Act, which past generations of workers saw as a guaranteeing of the right to organize, has been used by successive Democratic and Republican administration to bog down organizing campaigns and bureaucratic mazes and piles of red tape. So in like 2012, I was organizing at FedEx Ground in Brockton, Massachusetts. And we passed, there's a process. You have to go through a thing called card check. You have to get like, the law is like 30% of your people have to turn in a union card. And the NLRB, or the National Labor Relations Board, will count the votes and it begins a voting process. Right. So we got 85%, which is a very high number to get at, I think, of a warehouse of about 120 people. So it was me and a few others. So we did it. It was good.
Yeah, nice work.
Thank you. Thank you. So, and because it's FedEx, a pretty big company, they push a button and a team of corporate union busters are flown in, and they go down, and they had a high team like of the like I said, flown in on jets. Now the process used to take at most 30 days. Their labor lawyers were good enough and used the law as existed, and they made it last almost 4 months. 4 months of daily union busting, harassment. Like the way we went in with like their union meetings, they're called captive door meetings. They came in, they tried to bust our, and our crowd would just reject them. That I started doing chants every time they showed up. Every time they'd have a meeting, there were people in the back room who were the real people writing the script, and I would just turn my back to them and start yelling at the door because that's where the real union busters. It was fun. Can't do that for 4 months. 4 months, you were getting worn out like every second. You're getting harassed. So they work it. That's what they're talking now. And also, that was when Barack Obama, when he got elected, he goes, "I'm going to pass the Employee Free Choice Act," which would have eliminated all this bullshit. He didn't. He didn't help us out. He didn't pass legislation, and FedEx won. So that's a good point. So I just want to, that's my little side piece. Let me just go on. That bipartisan agreement to combat the mass mobilization of workers to defend the living standards was demonstrated fully in December 2022 when the Biden-Harris regime won instant congressional ratification of a measure to ban rail workers from using union power to shut down rail traffic in a strike. No debate and no input from workers was involved. Fain has spoken out against Israel's slaughter of defenseless Palestinians in Gaza, demanding a ceasefire. UAW Local 4811 in California, with Fain's support, even called a political strike against the University of California Regents, demanding the end of UC financing and Israeli imperialism. The Biden-Harris regime could bring that slaughter to a halt instantly by cutting off their supply of weaponry and ammunition to Netanyahu, but they won't do it because Harris supports that genocidal war. How is that standing shoulder to shoulder with the working class? The rise of Trumpism should sound a warning to leaders in the labor movement. The deterioration of working class standards during capitalism's steady decline has produced a radicalized generation that no longer believes the lies of capitalists and their Democratic Party supports. And this I found interesting. A March 2023 poll showed that 20% of today's youth consider communism to be the ideal economic system. Trump is a capitalist demagogue, not a communist, but he has cynically tapped into the mood of frustration and sense of betrayal felt by the older generations of workers to build up his personal following. Performative chants of "Trump is a scab" at the DNC are not enough to overcome the growing disgust with liberal promises that he can work for us. And I'll end with this thing right here, this quote from a Duke Law School professor, Jebediah Britton. I can't pronounce his name. This is the quote. "People feel powerless, ripped off by monopolies in everything from phone service to concert tickets. They can't get ahead in an economy where real wages have fallen behind the investments that wealthier people hold, which have skyrocketed in value. They see great fortunes made from addictive drugs and addictive platforms, and the pirates of high finance bailed out when their bankruptcy looms. We are right to believe and we deserve better." When almost 70% of the country feels betrayed by the economy, the party that speaks to this frustration has a built-in advantage. Compared to Mr. Trump's Republicans, the Democrats remain the party of protecting the system and making it work. The small C conservative party of the liberal but comfortable coast and the other economic hubs. Many corporate leaders and Wall Street titans have rallied to her, partly because of some genuinely fear Mr. Trump's authoritarian instincts and their anti-constitutional tactics, but also because they see her as a candidate of the stability, the leader of a party that will not rock the boat. The capitalist Democratic Party cannot help this political sea change. Continue to tie the unions to the sinking ship will only discredit such leaders. They will be swept aside by the emergence of a 30s style radicalized labor movement in the not so distant future. Yeah, I like that one. So
we can only hope.
Yeah. I mean, that's really it right there. It's, I think people, because you do see people, a lot of my coworkers, are like, I'm losing. And Trump is seemingly capturing that anger of like, you're losing. And he's saying it's immigrants, it's poor people. But once in a while, they'll blame like BlackRock. They'll blame some corporations. They'll blame some billionaires. But they think like their billionaires are the good ones. And like Elon Musk is looking like,
right. It's typical right-wing demagoguery. There's like a great passage from the TV series The Boys that kind of explains the appeal of like these kind of right-wing narratives. And I just want to read it out just because I think it's so good. And it's like,
is it the one that girl? What's her face?
Firecracker. Yeah, she
yeah,
says,
that
purpose.
I love that.
I sell purpose. These people got nothing. Maybe they lost a job or a house or a kid to Oxy. Politicians don't give a shit. Mainstream media tells them to be ashamed of their skin color. So, well, I bring them together, tell them a story, give them a purpose. Which would you rather believe? That you belong to a community of warriors battling a secret evil, or that you're a lonely, inconsequential nobody that no one will ever remember? And I think that kind of sums it up, because like
that was the best.
Yeah, they're tapping into like this real discontent, and they're trying to give it purpose.
Yep.
And what are the mainstream liberal bourgeois or mainstream conservative as well? It's like they just promise more of the same, pretty much.
Right.
And here's
America's
like some
great.
right-wing demagogue telling you, like, you know, we care about you. Here's your enemy. It's the blacks. It's the Jews. It's, you know, this shadowy
Antifa,
conspiracy.
it's all,
and you can join. They're the reason like your life sucks. And if you join with us and you fight them, things will get better. And that can be appealing to people who have freaking nothing. Now, it's true, like at the top, some of them might believe the bullshit, but for the most part, they're just, and even if they win, we know what happens. They just enrich the people in the top because it's a pseudo solution. They promise a pseudo revolution.
Yeah, I mean, joining these movements makes them infinitely more miserable and worse off, because then they start to alienate themselves from their families and their coworkers. Because, you know, these 30 flat earthers on Discord, they all say I'm right. So like, you know, like that's my family now.
Right.
And I remember one of the funniest trends. It was like the first Thanksgiving after Trump won, and all of these, you know, divorced dads were posting pictures of their Thanksgiving dinner of them eating by themselves, being like, who else got kicked out today?
Yeah, I know.
Jesus.
Right. Like Tim Waltz talked about that, which was good. And I mean, that's why I liked him. He was like, you can't even have a Thanksgiving dinner without these weirdos ruining it every time. They always have to say the worst things, to start fights with people.
I mean,
and it's like,
obviously,
you know.
conspiracy thinking kind of has existed since, you know, for centuries.
Right.
But with the internet, like it allows them to connect with each other. And it's really funny and also sad. Like 25 years ago, it used to be like the parents telling the kids, "Oh, don't believe everything you read online." And then it's like, then you go fast forward 25 years and they're like, "Oh, did you see this YouTube video about the Corporation of America and Trump's really the 17th It's like the QAnon crap.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, come on, you're believing like anyone who just has a freaking YouTube channel.
It's an AI generated image of like a woman with like a skirt just below her neck and a single leg. It says, "No one will take me out for Valentine's Day." And then the comments are like, "I'll take you out for Valentine's Day." And then God bless, God bless, amen.
And like there's an old man with a beard and no legs. Like I fought in the Spanish-American War. Can I get a like? You know, like it's like there's some like Jesus Christ, some people like, hey, no, Grandpa, I can't cancel the Netflix. It's mine. You know. Well, Netflix is woke. I don't like it. Like, you don't pay for Netflix. I do.
I do recommend a good documentary called "The Brainwashing of My Dad."
No shit.
I don't know if you guys saw that.
No.
I don't know. I just torrented it, but
put it on the screen. It may show us a trailer. If you can
see a trailer, sure.
Yeah, we got a few minutes.
A few minutes here.
Yeah. What's is it a CBC? Is it BB? Like, do you know what company? I always like to know what company.
It's an independent. It's an independent thing.
Okay.
Here's the whole thing on YouTube.
Oh, all right. That's. Oh, there's a trailer. 2 down for me. All right, perfect.
In the 1960s, Jen Senko's dad never had a bad word to say about any race, or people, or person.
Then in the 80s, after my dad discovered talk radio during a long commute to work, he suddenly didn't like black people, poor people, gay people, feminists, Hispanics, and especially Democrats. After he discovered Fox News, they became the enemy. What happened to Dad?
The great story here for anybody willing to find it and write about it and explain it is this vast right-wing conspiracy, but it has not yet been fully revealed to the American public.
By the 70s and the 80s, the media had been taken over by the extreme right.
Homosexual marriage is such a threat to civilization itself.
And Michael Weiner.
Mass murder committed by immigrants.
God controls the climate. Come on.
In asking the question, what happened to her dad, it was really like asking what happened to our media. And in asking what happened to our media, it was really like asking what happened to our country.
Huh. I'm in.
That's
I'm in.
Oh, that looks
I'm in.
interesting.
I'm
Yeah,
putting that- I'll
2016
put it on
was
my
really
queue.
good.
Okay, Brandon, well, let me put that on right now.
Yeah,
You
this
got it.
this old guy just got addicted to like Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson, and because like it there's something about it that it feeds this certain part of your brain.
They provide answers.
That is craving
Like-
answers and meaning. Yeah, exactly.
Like capitalism itself is irrational. Like, we should be able to provide for everybody's needs, but instead it's like, corporations do what they want. There's crises, and there are genuine like things that happen, like, you have stuff like COINTELPRO or whatever, like real actual conspiracies.
Right.
And so there is stuff there, but people need to like, there's
You
this
could never get them to
reservoir.
believe those, then.
Yeah, but there's this reservoir of irrationalism in that, and people are seeking answers to that. And, conspiracy theories are basically, they're naturally produced by capitalism. If we had a rational society, this wouldn't happen. There would be no material basis for it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be able to get rid of it right away. But it's like, in the sense, like they're tapping into that thing that people really, that is true, that there is something wrong in the world. But they provide all these wrong answers with mysticism and irrationalism. And our solution, aside from socialism, of course, is a rationalist education, Marxist education. So you can really pierce through the bullshit.
Yeah, this is why Trump really resonated with a lot of these segments of the working class, is just being so condescended to by liberals and liberal media, and he accidentally tapped into like a frustration. And if you listen to a lot of these people and a lot of these conspiracies, like there is a root cause of all of these it's capitalism and it's alienation. It's we don't own the fruits of our labor. We're completely disconnected from each other and from community and from the work that we do. Essentially, those of us who are lucky enough to have jobs, in a lot of cases, like a lot of these guys are just completely disconnected.
Right. There isn't some secret cabal controlling things. It's just like the banal functioning of the system.
Right. It's
like
called
it's just
Wall
like
Street.
the everyday.
It's like they have an address. It's called Wall Street. But I think
Yeah.
I don't know. Chomsky.
It's
was
not a
talking
secret
about,
cabal. It's
right.
It's out
But
in the
they
open.
own the media. For those of us who were around for the Iraq War, watching how everybody turned on, like Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction and everybody bought into it. And then it was a complete lie. We figured it out. Like it came out, there were no weapons of mass destruction anywhere in Iraq. They didn't exist. And nothing happens to the people who did it. And it's like, how did 80% of the population believe such a stupid lie? Like, I mean, I was 20 and I'm like, I did about an hour of research. I'm like, there's no weapons of mass, like they're not there. But like everyone believed it because right-wing media owns, and the liberals went along with it. Every time you turn on the news, there was a general talking about the war. Like,
Yeah,
there is
they
no
can
left-wing
generate
media in
their
this
own
country.
consent for stuff. I mean,
Right.
Like there was no vast Judeo-Bolshevik conspiracy in the 20s and 30s. It was bullshit. But the Nazis were it because they controlled the press and everything. They could generate support for that narrative. And you see it, like now with like what they say about like trans people or the Haitians eating like cats and dogs and everything. They can do all this because they can do it for wars. They can do it for their policies. The fact, like, they have framed the whole electoral debate. Like, everything we're saying here, it might be common sense, on, scare quotes, on the far left. But it isn't if you talk to, like, someone who's just enmeshed in, like, Fox News or CNN or MSNBC.
Right. Yeah. Russiagate, another one. Like, it was, like, all I hear, like, all the liberals I talk to, within 30 seconds, Russia this, Putin this is that. It's like,
and the other thing, I'm not a huge Chomsky fan, but I think he made a good point when he said, like, when there's so little differences, in like the mainstream, like there is like debate allowed, but it's within a narrow spectrum. And within that spectrum, it's like very loud and very like, they're going back and forth. If you like watch Fox News or something, if they ever have debates, it's like, they're yelling at each other. It sounds like we have free speech, but they don't really disagree on anything fundamentally.
Right. Like, we want to bomb Israel. Like, no, we feel bad about bombing. We want to bomb Palestine. No, like, it's just like they're debating about how many bombs. Like, a billion bombs. How about 100 million bombs? Why do you support? Why are you weak on it? Like, it's just like that's the conversation. Not like maybe we shouldn't be bombing anyone. Like,
yeah, exactly. So you'll notice too. They pick, like we mentioned earlier in the episode about how they pick certain billionaires that are evil, because Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post, and the Washington Post was marginally critical of Trump during his tenure. Now they've got it out for Bezos and Amazon.
Far leftist Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you guys want to see conservative cringe humor.
Please don't. I didn't know they made a second episode. This is the dumbest. The first episode was the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. With its own, it's still got its own laugh track and everything.
No, this one does not have a laugh track.
Oh, they got rid of the laugh track. Okay, and the fact that he has a Bostonian accent pisses me off. This guy's wicked fucking stupid. So I don't give a shit.
This is the worst conservative attempt.
Right wingers aren't funny.
No, they're not.
My God.
Here's we talked about this in the Tuesday night reading group chat. Please join if you're interested in learning Marcus theory. But like the whole Puerto Rico garbage island comment from some fucking dipshit washed up comedian. The reason why like this shit is so not funny because there's no punchline, there's no setup. There's no structure to telling an actual joke. But like that aside, all conservative humor is just punching down because these are the dipshits that are actually in charge of society.
Stuff. Ha ha ha! Like,
and
that's
all they
it.
can do, all they can do is punch down. And when genuine comedy is all about challenging, power structures,
right? The status quo and stuff, right?
So
or just generally being funny. Like,
so we've all heard this. We've all heard the takes on Hinchcliffe and the comments on Puerto Rico. We don't need to. We don't really.
You
need
heard
to
him.
rehash
Trust
that.
me. Yeah.
I saw this today, and this genuinely, like, this was so bad. It was
only
like
4.5 thousand views. Oh my God, this is interesting.
This was so bad. It was like genuinely offensive. Like I felt victimized watching this because of how unfunny it was.
The new norm is fully AI, right? Like they just like
it might be
right. Like
what is the new norm? Just for people who might not be familiar with it,
it's not funny. That's all you
need. It seems to be
it's
like a sitcom about a like grouchy old guy. It's the thing where like
Archie Bunker with a Boston accent. That's what he is.
Conservatives think they love the character of Archie Bunker, and none of them seem to realize that the point of that show was that he was wrong.
Right.
That was the entire fucking thing. And
are these the same people? Because there is a constituent of Republicans who didn't understand Stephen Colbert's satire from the Colbert Report.
Oh, I've heard that.
Yeah, they're like there are people who didn't know he was kidding when he was just doing a Bill O'Reilly impression.
That was it. Yeah. Him on Bill O'Reilly was hilarious too. That was a funny bit.
Fuck, man. Colbert Report was genuinely funny. Anyway,
then when he got his own show, he just became like a cuck for liberals.
This is a nightmare. So the thumbnail for this.
I've had to keep staring at this. Can we get this over with? And look at Donald Trump is
Trump has gigantic fucking hands, and he's built like a goddamn brick shithouse in this.
Right. It's tough. And Elon Musk.
Okay, so if Kamala, there's a bunch of right wingers that are in line for a rocket ship.
Wins, we're out of here.
If Trump wins, we're out of here.
If Kamala wins, like
we're out of here, and
there's
then
no subtlety whatsoever.
No, exactly.
It's like a young Peter Griffin is in line, but okay, all right.
It shows now there's a bunch of Kamala supporters who are having they're waving trans flags and rainbow flags. There's a non-binary person with a pink.
Having a dog is okay. All right.
This is
a pea shirt, which I've never really
so aggravating.
Okay.
So they're now boarding. There's two rocket ships. One's going to Canada. Canada has the rainbow flower stripes.
Wow.
And you'll notice that it's Jeff Bezos' rocket ship. It's got the Amazon logo on it. And on the right-hand side, which is a slightly bigger rocket ship, hint, is Elon Musk's SpaceX, and they're going to Mars. And now Elon Musk and Trump are landing on a saucer.
Why are they taking
in a cartoon is the only way that Elon Musk is actually going to take us to Mars.
Dogs and cats.
Your side eats dogs and cats. Our guy just sings about it.
They're eating the dogs. Eating the dogs.
Maybe we all can get along.
There, on the sloped roof.
I will say Hillary with a sniper rifle is like prime Avatar.
That was Hillary? Wait, that was Hillary?
That was supposed to be Hillary.
That was supposed to be Hillary.
Hillary with a sniper rifle is like prime Avatar material. For like a profile picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so the Jeff Bezos has his ship has a little bit of dysfunction, even though it's being flown by DEI hire.
What this button does.
They can barely get it up.
It's funny because the Blue Origin rocket
Now we're
was
stuck here
fine.
with you.
Like it
We're
worked.
stuck here with you. And they
Yeah, didn't Jeff Bezos actually went into space? Unlike Elon Musk, he refused to get onto his own rocket for some reason.
Shit.
Okay.
My plan worked. They're destroying each other.
Oh, for
my
Christ's
God.
sake.
Oh my God, Putin the communist. Wait, so they're now now they're saying that Putin is behind everything?
Yes, Putin is a communist
And
and he's controlling all of this. And
Yeah, they cannot figure out how they feel about Russia.
They
man.
don't know how, yeah.
So they've adopted the ACP line that Russia's like.
On yet.
What do we do now?
Kremlin got bombed by loot. Let's go looting.
need a beer.
Wait, where's our dog?
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
Now there's a dog and cat constellation.
So where's the dog? That didn't answer the fucking question.
I think the dog is in the ship.
Oh, is it another?
There it is.
Okay. So this is like
This is serious?
This is really. I'm not
This is
actually sure
serious.
what the message is.
What did I just watch?
It's an advertisement.
I want normal beer. Problem is, nowadays, beer's covered in rainbows and drag queens. If only there was a better way.
No, it isn't.
Who the
Turn
fuck
any
cares?
beer into normal beer with the Normal Beer Cozy. Get the Normal Beer Cozy now.
Anyway, so
Are you
yeah,
shitting me?
that's who we're losing. That's who the left
lost
is losing to.
Right, this is who we're these cucks are the reason why we can't have nice things. These guys. 2 minutes and 25 seconds. This is they can't make jokes. They can't even do a good cartoon. This wasn't funny. They have like a hoverboard which doesn't exist. Like, what the fuck did
so this is the show. Like I thought the first one that came out was like a trailer, but this just seems to be
No, I think that was a pilot. That was a pilot.
It was a
3 minutes
pilot.
long.
Right.
And yeah, like this.
So trans jokes again. Wah, ha 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 ha.
Yeah, so
Like-
they're all supporting Jeff Bezos's spaceship, even though like in what fucking like timeline is this where you think that like all of these people
But
none
Putin
of
the
this makes
communist
sense.
sounds like a liberal thing.
I
Like
really-
that's what
Yeah.
Joe, you said this was maybe written by AI. I think you might be right, honestly, because this
When
is
I watched
genuinely embarrassing.
Yeah,
Like,
when I watched
whoever
the
was part of
pilot,
it.
I remember thinking like, I think the whole thing is that like the animation, the writing, the voices, I think all of it is AI.
Oh my god. This is just
It's worse. It's somehow worse than Mr. Beecham. I don't know if you've seen that one. It's like another attempt at a conservative. It's like a
they're not funny. They're just weird.
It's like a King of the Hill. It's supposed to be like King of the Hill.
Yeah.
Except Hank Hill himself was a conservative, and the show was all about challenging that.
Right. That was funny.
And it was genuinely funny and
Right.
extremely well. God, I still think about King of the Hill. It's such a
No, I like
perfect
that
show.
line when he met his the neighbor, and he's like, he goes like, "So are you Chinese or Japanese?" He goes, "I'm Laotian."
I'm Laotian.
I'm looking at him
Yeah.
blank.
The
So are you
ocean?
Chinese or Japanese? What is wrong with you?
Yeah, Laotian, stupid. Landlocked country between Vietnam and Thailand. Population
1.2
4
million
million.
people? Are you Chinese or Japanese? Like, that was all they kept saying to him. Dude, that's funny. They're ignorant. Like, that's how you make a joke. This isn't funny. This is just like I'm just gonna say shocking shit, and it's not funny. Like, granted,
It's
like
not even shocking. It's like
no. And then they have a dance party, and Elon Musk, like,
this is the funniest. This is the funniest bit here is Hillary with a sniper rifle, because like I would make that my profile.
That might be a good profile pic. That's all I'm saying.
I wouldn't put that on Facebook.
True.
You might be able to get away with that on Twitter, but I wouldn't try it on Facebook.
Yeah, that's
maybe just get like the scope in there or something.
I thought it was the Missouri Senator McCaskill. I thought but yeah, okay. She has a similar look.
That would be a deeper cut.
I know I'm really too far into this shit.
Is there anything else you wanted to cover? That's about all I had.
Oh God. Yeah, we have a closer. We do have a closer. It's I'd say just play from minute 24. It ended around 26, but
where's this?
We want to get you'll
YouTube
see.
link.
It's on.
No, that's not
no. The last one I just put up. It's a Reddit. It's a Reddit thing here.
I know which one you're talking about.
We watched it on Tuesday.
Okay, last one. We'll have a bit of fun here.
There we go. So right to about minute 24:07. That's when
24:07. Okay.
So Doug, could you describe? Say we have a first time listener, right? We got some.
Well, this is This is a deeply disturbed man who who wanted to get in a fight, and apparently he was on a stream and he decided to leave his stream to go get in a fight, and the person who challenged him wasn't there.
Also, the chairman of the American Communist Party. So.
Yes,
this is Mr. Hazaldine. I will never call him comrade.
He just during his stream, someone kept trolling him on Twitter, and it was so fucking funny.
Now they're fucking bitching out. What do you fucking know? Now they're fucking bitching out. What do you fucking know? Now they're bitching out. So I sent them a fucking location. I don't know where they fucking expect me to go. I sent them a fucking location. Now they said he wants me to drive to a gas station, then make a video, then he will start driving there. Yeah, because I'm not gonna go somewhere till I know you're fucking there. You're a fucking keyboard warrior on the internet. Your fucking account was 479 followers. It was made in fucking March. You've never actually proven that you're fucking here.
Imagine being his neighbor. You have to hear this at all hours of the night.
I think for the comments, like, I feel bad for the bricks in his house that have to hear this. Oh God. Oh, he goes on to have. I mean, I listened to 14 minutes of it just in the background. He goes on for 14 minutes, like unhinged level of like, holy crap. So I guess he drives down there. There's a picture.
Yeah,
supposedly
so he ends his stream to drive down to the
like 4 hours away.
Yeah.
4 hours in this gas station.
The guy didn't show up.
You had to drive 8 hours round trip for this shit.
And
no one's there.
You know, his piglet followers were like, yeah, well, at least Haas was man enough to show up.
You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, it's like
it's like you got trolled, bro.
This is like one of the worst cult leaders of all time. This is clearly someone who's not all there and who's terminally online. And it's like, come on. And you know, like, that's not like an aberration. If you go back to his YouTube channel, he's got freaking like hours and hours of like streams like this.
I didn't know that we just discovered this on our Tuesday. Granted, after our study group, we after our serious Leninist reading, we have to break it down.
We just started watching. Yeah, sometimes you got to chill, sit back and chill.
Right, we do have a social after.
And making fun of someone who's clearly like beneath us and an idiot. It's like, you know, it's like, yeah, that's a great way to relax. And who deserves it, I might add.
I do have one last little bit.
Oh boy, here we go. All right.
God, give me 2 seconds. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, so there's the classic, the 2-hole theory.
Bitching out.
Yeah,
we didn't. I know we
so
could have
hosted they hosted a Twitter space recently.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, I saw some of it.
Because so they were opening up their phone lines.
Oh.
they were opening up their phone lines to haters. To have people come in and criticize them.
That's amazing.
4-hour goddamn stream. So right around 3:31, I believe.
Do you call in? What?
No, I didn't call in. I'm
okay.
not brave enough to call in.
No, I wouldn't call into it.
People at least having the cojones step up and have a conversation with us. But moving on, Liam.
This is Eddie talking.
Yo,
that's
me.
Been waiting forever.
Okay, so as a Marxist-Leninist, I feel the need to ask you this question, Haz, if you're listening.
Haz.
We're here.
Okay.
I don't really think you're a Marxist-Leninist, and I think you're probably here to troll, but go ahead, have a crack at it.
Okay, well, how many holes do women have below the belt?
So, by the way, Liam, I already knew you were a degenerate and a porn addict just by looking at your profile picture. I didn't even have to click your profile. I already knew it. And
how many?
you know,
Haz?
I hope you find some kind of peace, and I hope you find some kind of
It's a fucking comfort character, man.
Liam, just by the way that you're hysterically and maniacally laughing, I could already tell that you are a complete, porn addict. You're a complete, to the point you're in a state of mental psychosis, and I pray for those around you, and I could even say I pray for you as well. I think that you are very sexually disturbed.
Very sweet of him.
Very clearly, and I think that I hope you don't have pets. I hope there are no animals within your vicinity that you have access to in private. And,
bro.
Bro, how are you gonna laugh? How are you gonna mock that question? You literally have like an animal as your profile picture.
Motherfucker.
And like 27 pronouns.
I don't really believe in animal rights. I have no problem like eating.
That's Link from Legend of Zelda. By the way.
I don't.
I'm actually surprised he doesn't know who Link is. I thought he would have be way more into games.
Animals, but I don't think
so. He should accuse this person of wanting to fuck their pets. Anyway, so he has much more calmer demeanor now. Now that he's president.
I think he's
what's his
executive chairman. I think his title is.
Whatever you made up.
He's been doing that for a while. Is trying to act like more presentable. It's like David Duke. That kind of transition.
Yeah, he's trying to be more respectful, which is like, man, no, you were cool when you would just flip out at nothing at the drop of a hat. Eternal chairman, yeah.
Oh my god. Bob Avakian has a better grip on things.
Anyway, still getting
Bob Avakian actually did positive things at one point in his life. Haas never has.
Right.
Like some of the stuff Bob did in the 60s was okay. Helping the Black Panthers, that's fine.
Sure.
Right. The RCP was cool during the Detroit the LA riots and stuff.
That's the good part.
Yep. As far as I know, Haas has never worked an actual job.
No.
He probably got kicked out of law school based on what I gather.
He was really shitty to DoorDash workers, from what I hear. This man has absolutely zero understanding of class relations to the means of production.
No, you never hear him talk about.
Whoa! Are you saying that homeless people are not lords of the sidewalk?
I mean, his flag. He has the flag of a capitalist country for Russia. Like that's what he has for his avatar. At least all the other countries have sickle and hammer. Palestine, I see that.
Yeah.
China, okay, Nicaragua, all right, but like Russia, dude, yeah, good choice. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, these guys are extraordinarily frustrating because I listened to his debate with Asater Bayer. Now they agree on a lot of stuff.
Yes, they do.
Obviously, stuff that I don't agree with. But again, like his class analysis is so apparently bad. Like it's so obvious. Like you don't know what you're talking about because he keeps defending, and you see this in all of the ACP's rhetoric and theory and philosophy, where they confuse the petty bourgeoisie with the working class. They think the MAGA movement is, and again, this is where they get confused when people call them fascists because they're all petty bourgeois, right? And they harbor these reactionary tendencies.
Ethical landlords? What? What's wrong with ethical landlords?
They want their branches in the ACP to be run like businesses to raise money for the party.
That's not how
which
it
is
works,
like,
you idiots.
That's
Christ.
That's different. It's certainly different than having
a business owner. No, you're a worker. It's a worker ideology. That's the whole point,
exactly. So you have to have this petty bourgeois organization.
Yeah, like you can raise funds for the organization by like doing paper sales, selling t-shirts and shit like that, but no, buying like an apartment complex and charging rent and shit, that's not really, that's different, you know? No. Holy Christ.
Yeah, they just like I say this over and over again, they have no understanding of class analysis. Like nothing, because again, they're all petty bourgeois. He's a streamer. His only means of production is a camera and a microphone.
Right.
And he
They're
has
anti-union as far as I'm concerned,
Yep.
right? Like
yeah, fuck union
They hate
organizing.
baristas,
Oh,
which for them is
100%.
basically just a stand-in for anyone who's not like a stereotypical white guy.
They have he in particular has called like the LGBTQ movement bourgeois decadence, citing Stalin and Engels. I don't know if Engels
It's all
had an opinion on that.
misquotations, except probably the Stalin for that. But no, it's like if you watch that Bear interview, like they're talking about some mugshot from people like from Seattle, and he calls them like subhumans. It's like really horrible,
Yeah,
like reactionary language. And all the disagreements with Bear aside, he was right to call him out on that.
Yeah, no, that was a genuinely good interview, and I think we'll dive further into that for a later episode for more thorough analysis of what I'm talking about. But
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, that could be a lot of fun. Let's do some more Marxism on this pod after the election. Okay, I think that about does it. Join us Tuesday night. We'll be streaming live.
Thursday.
Election.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
no,
right.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Tuesday.
yeah. I was thinking that too.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to be cheering
This
on.
Tuesday
I'm hoping that some African Union election officials can come in and monitor the this very unstable country.
Call the United Nations, call the Carter Foundation, whatever. Get some Palestinian organizations in here to start doing it. So, all right, perfect.
Okay, that's about does it. Chris, Joe, Doug, thank you so much for joining me tonight, and we will leave off with
an updated version of a classic,
2024's version of "Love Me, I'm a Liberal."
I cried when Trump won the election. I was with her in 2016. I'm voting for Kamala Harris to save our democracy. Don't talk about voting third party. Trump won because they voted green. So love me, love me, love me. I'm a liberal. Well, I feel for those children in Gaza, but October 7th was wrong. And violence is never the answer. I wish both sides would just get along. And Kamala's working for a ceasefire, even if she's still sending the bombs. So love me, love me, love me. I'm a liberal. It says coexist on my bumper, right next to the flag of Ukraine. I'm much more evolved than a Trumper, but bombing kids is okay. And don't be a one-issue voter when dictatorship is at stake. So love me, love me, love me. I'm a liberal. I get my news from Rachel Maddow, NPR, and the New York Times. I'm gonna vote blue down the ballot, even if they support genocide. This is the most crucial election